You may have never heard of it, but the Commission on Innovation and Excellence in Education, also known as the Kirwan Commission, is arguably the most influential body in Maryland regarding the future of public education. Named after its chair and Chancellor Emeritus of the University System of Maryland, William Britt Kirwan, the 24-member board is tasked with creating a funding formula and policy recommendations that could impact public education for generations. The board itself is comprised of educators, politicians, and representatives of educational organizations, all selected by a variety of stakeholders, including the governor, the Maryland State School Board, and legislators. The Commission's findings, along with recommendations, was scheduled to be released in 2017. However, the board has yet to release its final report, instead offering a preliminary summary in January 2018. From the preliminary report, we know a big part of the Commission's work is looking at how schools are funded. Article 8 of the Maryland Constitution requires the establishment throughout the state a thorough and efficient system of free public schools, and to provide by taxation or otherwise for their maintenance. The Kirwan Commission is building on the work of the 2001 Thornton Commission. Thornton was created after Maryland entered into a consent decree because courts found the state had failed its constitutional mandate to adequately fund Baltimore City public schools. The consent decree was a partnership between the city and state to work together to improve Baltimore City schools through new funding and leadership. Under the Thornton recommendations, school funding began gradually increasing statewide in 2002, but tapered off after the Great Recession of 2007. A state report found this caused Baltimore to lose out on over $250 million in 1 year alone. Critics say Baltimore schools have been underfunded by $3 billion since 1996. Consultants found Maryland needs to spend $2.9 billion a year more to adequately educate its students. The Commission hasn't come up with a price tag yet for the policies they will propose, but that's one of the things it's still meeting to figure out. There are currently 5 working groups hammering out the details for Kirwan's major policy recommendations. Expand access to universal pre-K to all 4-year-olds, low-income 3-year-olds, and all special education students. More resources for at-risk students. Commissioners found that as a state, Maryland spends 4.9% less money on poor districts than wealthy ones, the 15th most regressive funding system in the nation. Have a more rigorous teacher training and certification process. The recommendations also acknowledge the need for a more diverse teaching workforce. Just 25% of teachers are people of color compared to nearly 2/3 of the student body. Curriculums should be able to support all students to be college and career ready by 10th grade and provide resources to those who fall behind. And finally, the state needs to increase accountability for high-quality schools and strengthen governance, including in the implementation of the Commission's proposals. In 2019, the Maryland legislature will make decisions about the Commission's recommendations, determining whether they will be implemented and how they will be funded.